Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to celebrate flawed teachers. We can think about what's the difference between a flawed teacher and a flawless teacher, because today's theme is flawed, literally and figuratively. So, a flawless teacher would be someone who creates a very busy classroom, someone who keeps the students busy. As you can see, I'm not a flawless teacher. I, for no reason, like to walk into the middle of the class, put my thumbs up, and embarrass the students. Yeah. Today we are going to look at why we have such behavior. Flawless equals perfection. Yeah. It means very good. Perfection is desirable and it's exemplary. Exemplary means a role model or an excellent example. Flawed by default, the opposite would mean perhaps undesirable, we don't want. Today we're going to appreciate some of the skills it takes to be flawed and different. What am I going to quickly talk about today? Yes. A flawed teacher is very useful to you when he or she does not listen to you. As you know, I seldom care about you. It looks like. Also, perhaps, a flawed teacher seems to be a little impolite or rude. The key word is seems. Let's go to slide number 2. What a man. So, this is a picture from a poem called The Ancient Mariner. It's about an ancient mariner. It's a very famous poem, perhaps the most famous poem in the Western poetic canon. Yeah, maybe the most famous poem in the English language. The titular character, which means the main character, is called the Ancient Mariner. The Ancient Mariner is about an ancient mariner. He walks around, looks for people who are very busy. In this poem, he finds someone who wants to go to the lavatory. He stops them. He starts talking about his life story. Let me tell you about when The person he's talking to is not interested. He keeps asking for the story to stop. The Ancient Mariner doesn't care. He continues talking. The audience member who wants to go to the lavatory asks some questions. The Ancient Mariner is not listening. He continues to talk. As the Ancient Mariner is talking, his behavior seems very rude because he's not answering any questions that the listener may have. And his behavior seems a little too direct. The Ancient Mariner is showing us 2 things that a flawed teacher may have. Let's have a look at this, slide 3. So, like the Ancient Mariner, a flawed teacher may not seem to listen to a student who's asking a question in class. Me, for example, when students ask me a question, it doesn't matter what's the question. I already have some generic answers I can share. Teacher, student, teacher. How can I write a really good essay? Go on the internet, is my answer. Teacher, I'm really worried that I'm going to fail my exam. Go on the internet. Teacher, and so forth. This could be a flaw because it seems like the teacher is not listening. However, by giving these generic answers, The teacher may be encouraging you to take control of your study. You ask me a question, I give you an answer, that's the end. You just take my answer. If you go on the internet, for example, then you may be able to go to this website, that website, find out information that takes you down the rabbit hole, like in Alice in Wonderland. The rabbit hole means there's no end to what you can learn and in which direction you can go. So here, the flawed teacher, or the teacher who seems like he doesn't care very much, maybe he cares the most, because he's encouraging you to take ownership, he's encouraging you to think for yourself, he's encouraging you to be autonomous. We have a word for this in academics. We call this metacognition, loosely speaking. A lot of literature has been written about how metacognition can help you study. There's one. The second thing that a flawed teacher may do, the second thing that a flawed teacher may do, the second thing a flawed teacher may do is you talk to the teacher and he or she may be speaking to you a little oddly. I like to think of this as sarcasm or verbal irony, which is the teacher says one thing, the real meaning is the opposite. So, maybe you want some feedback. You ask the teacher. The teacher gives you an answer that is a little odd. Teacher, how's my homework? Very good. I like the way you misused your commas. This seems odd, it seems like the teacher is not doing their job. However, when the teacher is doing this, the teacher is making you think about whether or not you should accept the feedback. It's the beginning of a conversation. We call this dialogic learning. So when I give you something and you have to think about it, and then you may want to respond, and then I may to respond. This will be a dialogue or a conversation. This encourages deeper thinking from you. Deeper thinking makes it more memorable. More memorable means maybe a better job, more money, if you care about that thing. So, like the ancient mariner, maybe it's nice to have a horrible teacher, or someone who doesn't seem to listen, and someone who doesn't seem to give you polite comments when you ask them something. By being impolite, this is making you think more, deeper learning. By not answering your questions in a specific way, making it seem like the teacher's not listening. Didn't listen? Not listening. Then maybe this gives you ownership of your studies, because if someone is not going to help you with a yes or no answer, you'll have to explore or discover this yourself. This student discovery can lead to ownership and metacognition. Metacognition, good. Deep thinking, good. That's the end of this talk. Great. Thank you so much.